Having lived on Cape Cod for over 20 years, I'd been to Plymouth often enough to know my way around the many bass ponds and lakes that help make up the largest town in all of Massachusetts. Known for offering up some of the largest freshwater bass in the state, on this beautiful spring day, On the Water's angling adventures would take us to the small village in Plymouth known as Chiltonville that has been home to the Gilbert trout hatchery for over 100 years. It was the Nickerson family, whose roots can be traced back to the Mayflower settlers, who first established the 137 acres along the Eel River in 1869 that would eventually become the home of the Gilbert Trout Hatchery and one of the longest continuously running, privately owned hatcheries in the country. Years later, the Nickerson family would start the Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club as a way of enjoying the beautiful brook, brown, rainbow, and tiger trout that were raised and released from the Gilbert Hatchery into Eel River. And I know the Nickerson families, I think Darlene's the third generation who's been managing the club, so.
I've got on San Juan worm. Oh, we just spooked a big fish. Chris, look at the size of that trout right there. It's like a 4-pound trout, just right there.
Oh my God.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna go to a streamer, actually.
Look at the size of that thing. All right, well, Jimmy Fee and I just got in here. We're seeing fish all over the surface. We're at the Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club, and right now I can see them. I don't want to spook them. I actually want to stay down right now because they're coming up and they don't seem to be too skittish right now. The water clarity is decent, and looks like they're all right along the bank in here. They've been coming up and feeding. We're just going to be fishing some streamers here, a little bit of beaded head.
So the Gilbert Trout Hatchery was built out of a tributary of the Eel River, and this river eventually winds through Plymouth and hits salt water. It's actually a good schooly striped bass spot in the springtime. But this part used to be part of the hatchery, but they abandoned that. It's kind of been reclaimed by nature a little bit, as you can see, and it's just a beautiful place to fly fish, and it doesn't hurt that there's a ton of big trout in here too. So.
Jimmy's got a 3-weight, I got a 4.
Oh, you see him behind it? Yeah, for a retrieve, it's been kind of quick. I mean, it seems like if you slow it down or stop it, they tend to lose interest. But if you can keep the fly moving, that's when they'll kind of pop up and hit it. You probably haven't been here for 10 minutes maybe. I've had 2 hits so far. I can't even count how many follows. Chris about the same. I just missed one right now. Hopefully that fish comes right back.
What do you have, Jimmy, on there?
It's kind of like a woolly bugger. Oh man, it's behind it. Yeah, Chris, the last cast, it got eaten as soon as it was sinking out of sight. Oh,
there it is. Jimmy, I'm curious what the end game's gonna be like here. You got a deep drop on. We've been seeing fish the whole time in here, just cruising right along the bank. This guy's just, what would you say? You keep asking for it, you gonna get it?
Exactly, yeah, finally, we've had a few hits already. Finally, we made one pay for it. Yeah, this is just a little 3-weight rod, Chris. We're fishing such small water. It's only about a 6-footer, you know, this rod.
We're told this is Murphy's Hole. What's the story behind Murphy's Hole?
No, I heard that Murphy was a horse that fell in here at one point. Might be nicknamed Jimmy's Hole in a minute when I try to land it.
Jimmy, I don't know if there's a bank there.
Oh, wow.
Jimmy, if you walk them over to me here, this is probably the best place to try to land this fish.
Really pretty trout, Chris. Look at that. Look at the fins on them. Awesome.
Is that gorgeous or what? Look at this thing, Jimmy, huh?
Just fishing a little olive streamer, Chris. It seems to be what all the action's on.
So we're down here because one of our staff members' family have been raising these trout for 100+ years now. I think they said 101 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And later on, we started at the very first spot we came in. Jimmy walked in, there was one twice this size right on the bank there. Really beautiful. Let me pop this guy. Actually, I'm gonna let you pop him. Yep. It's so warm out here, guys. We want to release this fish, get him back in healthy. The water feels so nice right now.
It does.
It's late spring, but it's got to be almost a 90-degree day.
There he goes.
And he's gone. But we're gonna get back to it. Stay with us, guys. When you come back, we hope to tie you in one of those big fish. Let's get back to it, Jimmy.
All right.
I'm jealous.
telling you, Chris, it's every other cast you having something follow you in.
I know.
It's pretty awesome. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Oh, crossed his eyes, Jimmy.
That was a good sized fish.
Come on, there it is. Did you see
Got him.
right? Ah! It hurt my hand. One thing about fly fishing is you have to learn to slow down, and I was not doing that earlier. I'm just hoping there's no structure along this bank, or he may not be coming back.
Well, I
I've
don't
never
want...
had a trout burn my finger with line, but this guy did. I was trying to collect the line. Look at that on the surface. I think you're right, Jimmy. Any kind of a little bit of weight, we're in about 6 feet of water in here. You wouldn't think it to me, because it's so murky, a foot down. It looks like the bottom's only 1.5 feet down, but this guy came out of the depths and just smoked it. Jimmy's got a nice fish. This guy's just about in that same class, maybe a little bit larger. That's what I do.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, look at the colors on these fish.
I don't think he's ready yet.
Not many places in Massachusetts you can get this kind of action in this kind of water. You know, usually this is something. Oh yeah, Jimmy. Look at that fish.
That's
Oh,
a beautiful
that
rainbow trout. Look
gorgeous?
at the spots on it.
I've caught some nice rainbow. That's it. Right there. Look at the colors on it. Look at the spots. Everything about this fish is gorgeous. The one thing we're going to do today, guys, it's 90 degrees out here almost, and Jimmy and I are both making weather. We're going to go ahead and pop this thing, and we'll get him back in and release.
That's a great fish.
Is that beautiful? What do you figure that girl's weight was?
That's got to be 3 pounds.
I would say
don't
all
you think?
that.
Yeah, maybe more.
Beautiful fish. Jimmy's going to go ahead and release him. He's been a big help helping me land this guy. I don't know if I'd do it alone in here. These things are so active. We're going to go ahead and release him. Look at that. Right along the bank. So we've had a bunch of rain the last few days, but the water clarity's down. So what we're doing is we're trying to throw flies. Jimmy and I are both throwing flies that have a little bit more flash sinking. It looks like it's only 2 or 3 feet deep, but it's not. And I have to be a little bit more patient to let that thing sit. On the retrieve, what we're doing is letting it sink and then just a kind of an erratic, quick motion. Although these fish are getting wise, twist quick. Oh, look at the size. He's got my fly, I think. That's why you recheck your knots after you land a fish, right there. That guy's got a fly hanging out of his lip. I went to cross him and, oh man, was that awesome. Oh, they're stacked up right along this bank. One of the things that we did when we first walked up is Jimmy and I dropped down really low profile. The sun is actually high in the sky right now. It's casting some pretty decent shadows. You just letting it sit?
I let it sink a little bit and then he hit it. Took a swing. I feel good about that one. There he is. Oh, Chris Monster. That is a big fish.
Look at that. That is beautiful.
Look at the colors on him. Oh, Chris, it's a really
That's
nice
gorgeous,
fish.
huh? Oh my God. Bring him in close to the bank.
That's a big rainbow.
Wow.
That's the biggest fish of the day, Chris.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is.
that's look at that.
Look how fat it is. I got your rod if you want.
Oh, I got it.
You got it? Jimmy just landed an absolute slob. This is one you go home on right here with.
Yeah, hey, I think I can leave now.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the one we've been
What did
looking
you
for all
change
day.
up to? I know that you had just changed flies on the last 2 fish. What did you change over to?
This is just, it's the same one we started with this morning, just a little olive streamer. You know, something, it had a little bit of a weighted head to it, so it got a little bit deeper, but man, look at that fish. Look how fat that
Beautiful. Look at the colors on that. Jimmy, that's a beautiful fish right there.
It's fantastic, especially in the middle of the summer. You know, we're not far from Cape Cod in Massachusetts. I mean, you'd have to go out west to get a fish out.
I was just going to say, you would never suspect having this type of action in here. But let's get him back in the water. The one thing that's nice about this, natural springs coming through. The water's about 58 degrees, 56 degrees. So it's nice and cool. These fish will drop right back in. But let's get him popped off and back in. He's too pretty to be sitting there in the water surface.
He's getting ready to go. I almost don't want to let him go, Chris.
It's unbelievable, huh? A fish like that.
I'd like to hold on to him for just a couple more seconds, but.
Jimmy, awesome fish, man. That is beautiful.
Well, we're going to let Murphy's hole settle down a little bit. We caught a few trout out of there this morning. When we come back from commercial, we're going to be sitting down with Darlene Nickerson talking about a little bit of the background of the Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club.
Darlene's a curator for this club, and she's been here for some time, over 100 acres. She's got a lot to tell us. Let's get going down to the fawn pool. Darlene, how long has this been in the family?
101 years. The hatchery and the club, and we started taking members on in '07. We've protected and preserved this entire property. There's 137 acres. This is sort of a means to help me keep everything going.
This is called
Murphy's Hole.
What's the story behind that?
I have a horse rescue, Black Feather Horse Rescue, and Murphy was a shire that was taken from the state because he got sick, and he couldn't swallow. So I had to feed him with a tube and a syringe, and when he started to feel a little bit better, I would let him go for now. Just kind of good for morale.
Yeah.
So didn't he come up here? He went to take a drink and slid right in and went right completely under. He ended up climbing out at the shallow down there.
So this right in here has got to be 6 or 7 feet deep anyways.
Yeah, because he's big.
Wow. And how's Murphy doing?
He's doing awesome, yeah.
How long has the horse rescue program been going on?
I started in '04. It's just the love of my life, you know.
We're gonna head upstream. What's next? Is there another hole?
Yep, called the fawn pool because one of the guys stumbled upon a little fawn in the water.
It was in the water?
Yeah.
And the fishing club is Chiltonville
Fly Fishing Club.
Fly Fishing Club. And how many members today do you have?
I have 10 right now, and I'd like to climb to 25. I want to keep it small and exclusive.
As we walked down to the next pool, Darlene explained the process by which the trout are raised. The hatchery collects and fertilizes the eggs from the adult trout around early November. After 60 days, the eggs begin to hatch, and the newly hatched trout are called alvin, which will survive by feeding off the remaining yolk that has attached to their body for 14 to 30 days. Once the yolk has been eaten, the alvin become fry, emerge from the gravel, move towards the light, and start to feed on tiny insects and feed in the water, which increases their size quickly during this stage. After a few months, the trout grow into fingerlings or parr. After a year or so of hatching into alvin, the trout become full-fledged adult trout and continue the life cycle by reproducing again in the fall. The Gilbert Trout Hatchery has been utilizing the same traditional techniques to raise trout for over the last 100 years, supplying farm-raised trout that have been shipped all over the country.
Is this incredible?
Unbelievable. There's a few right under that tree there, Chris. I think I'm ready to start casting again. Man, I like the look of this.
I'm going real soon.
Oh boy.
Oh, look at him, Jimmy, right there underneath.
Oh!
There's the first one.
That didn't take too long. Look at that undercut bank, Chris. He went right for it. Oh, man. We doubled up?
Doubled up.
Hey, Chris, doubled up and what, within 5 minutes of getting down?
Literally
This is
within
the fawn
2 minutes.
pool, I guess? Another really pretty rainbow trout. This one's a little bit bright, a little shinier.
Yeah, look at the colors on that, huh?
Yeah, this one hit just a little streamer.
But my guy just spooked a massive fish. It was just sitting right on the bank.
All right, I'm gonna let this guy go while Chris is landing his.
This guy has scared off no less than 3 or 4 fish that are spooked under the bank.
I think they were just trying to check out what he was eating, Chris. Ah, all right.
Just gonna walk him right in. Oh boy, bigger than I thought. Look at this fish. This is probably the smallest one we've caught, and they're just beautiful. I think Darlene's got 10 or 12 members. She's gonna grow this out to 25, but she's gonna do it really slow. You have to get up here. You have to participate in this. Log on, find out. I think we made 2 casts here, and Jimmy had one on, and then I had one the second one. This is just beautiful, and it's in addition to the incredible fishery, it's just a magnificent place. You feel like you're in the middle of Maine somewhere in 800 acres of nothing around. You'd never realize you're in Plymouth, Massachusetts, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and release this guy. Come on, fella. Darlene was saying that they came down here one day and there was a fawn in the water. And thus the name. There's got to be one in here. My last cast, I'm trying to toss it instead of let it just sit. Oh,
yeah. See if we can double up, Chris.
Oh, you gotta love the fawn hole. Nice fish right there. Beautiful rainbow. I am so glad I grabbed that fly out of the tree. I'm gonna try to get this guy in. Oh, easy. Look at the size of this fish. Look at this fish. Guys, I'm gonna get him back in the water. Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club.
I think right now, Chris, you've got me beat by a couple ounces in terms of the biggest fish, but I'm hoping I can turn that around before we call it quits.
I'm sure you will, until I take it again. That's the one thing though, Jimmy. I think that weak fish proved it. Ooh, that's a sore point. Hey, well, welcome back. We just picked up a couple fish upstream, I should say. We just moved a little further down, came in another pool. Looks like with the heat being what it is right now, the shadow lines is what's gonna hold the fish. Trying to find the deeper water. It's gotta be almost 85, 90 degrees right now. Last day of May, so I'm gonna see if I can tuck one in there. I'm fishing a stream that's about 15 feet wide, if that. And the one thing about this area is it's so scenic. It's just so beautiful. You can look over my right side, there's a swan, mom and dad with, I think, like 6 of their offspring with them. They see that I'm working this hole, so they're being good about it. I'm trying to pull a fish off the bank. It's about 9 degrees right now. What's happening is these trout are on the far bank, just almost buried right into the bank. You can see the little holes that are almost, anything overhanging on that side, they're underneath it. I've already lost one fly trying to get in there, so it's just a very easy roll cast and see if I can't move this thing along, entice one of these fish. There he is, right behind it. Got him. Right behind it. There's not a lot of room to let this fish go. There's weed and stuff in the bottom. I don't want him to get hung up. It's just your basic fly, your mayfly, just drifting it right along. These fish have been just hanging on the backside of this little stream. Beautiful little fish came right off the far bank there. I want to handle this fish as fast as possible. Switch over to this little green fly. Got a beautiful fish. We're going to go ahead and release him. That's about as small as the rainbow we've had, and look how beautiful this fish is. Just move a little further down, came in another pool. Jimmy's on the other side, he's gonna try that bank. I'm actually gonna try to reach across to him, and so I'm gonna see if I can tuck one in there without hanging up in a tree.
Oh, there we go.
Nice, Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, right in this nice, in the shade,
Yeah,
and
right
this
in that
cooler
shade
water.
here. I'm gonna come around to you.
About time. I think you've gone 3-0 on me after a little bit. I hadn't.
That won't last for long. I know Jimmy Fee. I know how Jimmy Fee fishes. How you look, Jim?
Another nice rainbow. He's a little bit smaller than some of the other ones we had. This guy hit a streamer. Oop. And I'm going to pop this out and put him back in the water. I think maybe there's a couple of them holding here because this is seems to be the deepest part of the pool, and also we've got a lot of shade here. So.
After fishing the lower stream in very tight quarters, Darlene told us about the bog pond, a small pond on the property that has been known to give up 6 and 7 pound trout. The pond is fed through the same natural springs that feed the streams and lakes around the region.
That's a fish.
It's hooked up again. Looks like a nice brook trout. So far, the move to the pond has paid off pretty well. I know Chris just had a nice one that broke off his leader. He's retying right now. I just got back in the game. This last fish was a really nice little brook trout. Most of the ones today have been rainbows, but I guess there's brown trout in here too that they told me, and even a couple tigers. So we're going to get the streamer out of this guy and let him go.
Nope. I'm going in this little hole here.
Here we go. Got one.
You got a streamer?
Yeah. Yeah, you hit it right as it was sinking. I didn't even have a chance to move it.
Nice fish, Jimmy?
Yeah, real good fish. We moved to a little small pond on the property. They said a lot of the trout eventually find their way here. So I'm going to pop the hook out of him and let him go and keep casting. There we go. All the fish here are really nice looking fish.
With the sun high in the sky and the bog pond slowing down, Jimmy and I headed back to Murphy's Hole for one last shot at a big trout.
Look at the fish. They seem like they want your little olive.
There he is. You get it right next to the bank. Go down to the shallow water here and land them.
Jimmy, you want to come down there?
There we go.
Jimmy, got him right there. Nice fish, Jimmy, huh?
Yeah,
Is that gorgeous?
It's been a great day, man. This is probably number 10, number 11
At
for us,
least
and they've all
that way.
been this size, this healthy looking. Just
Take this out of Murphy's Hole. We're at the Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club. It's been in the family with the Nickerson family for the last 100 plus years. The Gilbert Trout Hatchery and the Chiltonville Fly Fishing Club has actually started within that. If you'd like to learn more about today's show, guys, log on to onthewater.com. From Jimmy Fee and Chris Megan, thanks for tuning in. Jimmy, awesome fish, man, huh?
Oh, there he goes.
There he goes. Wow, that's awesome.